If you're a Bridgerton fan, I need you to watch this, because Netflix might be quietly feeding you Sandokan right now, and that changes what this show can become. In this video, I'm breaking down why Sandokan is showing up in romantic period drama territory, what Netflix is really testing with that move, and how you can tell if this is a real push, or just a brief algorithm spike. And if you want clean updates with zero gossip, subscribe now, because the next few days will reveal everything. Alright, let's talk about what's happening and why it's bigger than it looks. A lot of people hear Sandokan and instantly file it into one box. Pirates, swords, adventure, old-school hero story. And yes, those elements are there. But Netflix isn't just asking, is Sandokan a pirate story? Netflix is asking something much more strategic. Who else can we sell this to? 'Cause that's how Netflix wins. Not by pleasing the existing fans. Netflix wins by turning a title into a cross-audience product. The moment a show stops being for fans only and starts being for normal Netflix users, that's when it can explode. And if you're seeing Sandokan show up in the same orbit as Bridgerton, whether it's your recommendations, because you watched your trending shelves, or that general romantic period drama vibe, Netflix may be testing a powerful idea. Sandokan isn't just adventure. Sandokan can be a romantic period obsession. Now, why does Bridgerton matter so much here? Because Bridgerton isn't a show. Bridgerton is basically an audience ecosystem. It's a massive global crowd that shows up for the same emotional experience. Beautiful period aesthetics. Intense romance tension. Triangles, jealousy, forbidden attraction. Status games and power dynamics. One more episode pacing. And a fandom culture that loves choosing teams. Bridgerton viewers don't just watch. They binge. They rewatch. They share. They argue in the comments. That's algorithm gold. So if Netflix can even capture a slice of that behavior and direct it toward Sandokan, that's not a random recommendation. That's a growth strategy. And here's the key. Netflix doesn't recommend because it's nice. Netflix recommends because it's running a test. What Netflix is really testing. Netflix lives on a few silent questions. Will you click? Will you keep watching after 3 minutes? Will you finish the episode? Will you watch another one? Will you come back tomorrow? That's it. Netflix doesn't care about the label pirate. Netflix cares about viewer behavior loops. So Netflix will package Sandokan in a way that attracts the biggest possible crowd, and it will test different wrappers in different regions and for different users. For one user, Sandokan might be framed as epic period adventure. For another user, it might be framed as romantic period drama. For another, a bingeable love triangle. For another, action plus rebellion. And Bridgerton fans are one of the most valuable groups to test, because if they bite, the watch patterns can be intense. The Bridgerton-Sandokan bridge makes sense emotionally. Let's be honest. Bridgerton isn't famous because people love history lectures. It's famous because it delivers an emotional high. Romance suspense. Social pressure. Identity performance. Characters trapped in roles. Attraction that feels dangerous. Power disguised as politeness. Now look at what Sandokan can offer. A period world with strict systems. High-stakes identity and loyalty. A dangerous romantic pull. A triangle dynamic that creates teams. A setting that feels exotic and escapist. The feeling that every glance matters because the wrong choice changes everything. That's not pirate only. That's romantic tension inside a period pressure cooker, which is basically the Bridgerton addiction recipe, just with a different aesthetic. So if you're a Bridgerton viewer and you suddenly notice Sandokan showing up, Netflix might be saying, hey, this gives you the same emotional fuel, but in a fresh costume. And that's exactly how Netflix expands a title beyond the fan bubble. How to tell if Netflix is actually pushing Sandokan. This is important because there's a difference between a show being available and a show being pushed. Here are the clean signals to watch. No rumors, just platform behavior. 1. Homepage placement. If Sandokan is on your top banner, a high shelf near the top. Or it appears without you searching. That's push behavior. If you only find it by typing it in search, that's catalog behavior, not push. 2. The wording of the shelf. Netflix shelves aren't random. If you see Sandokan placed in romantic TV dramas, period pieces, steamy romance vibes, or anything that overlaps Bridgerton-style rows, that's Netflix testing the Bridgerton audience bridge. 3. The thumbnail and preview trailer you get. Netflix serves different thumbnails to different people. If your Sandokan thumbnail highlights couple, a dramatic gaze, romance tension, Netflix is aiming at romance first clicks, very Bridgerton coded. If your thumbnail is weapons battle action, Netflix is aiming at adventure first clicks. If you're a Bridgerton viewer and you're seeing romance first packaging, that's a massive clue. 4. Recommendations after you watch one episode. This is the biggest one. Netflix learns fast. After episode 1, do you start seeing Sandokan show up more? Do your because you watched rows start changing? Does Netflix begin connecting it to your romance/period ecosystem? That's when you know the test is live. Why this matters for John Yeoman? Because this isn't just one show did well. If Netflix successfully bridges Sandokan into the Bridgerton audience ecosystem, that changes the perception of John Yeoman globally. It becomes less actor with a strong fan base, and more Netflix period drama face that mainstream viewers recognize. And that distinction matters in a very real way. Casting opportunities, international promotion, platform investment, future licensing power, and whether a project becomes global mainstream or stays fan-driven. Netflix loves faces it can attach to a genre ecosystem. Bridgerton created a global hunger for romantic period obsession content. If Netflix can present Sandokan as the next flavor of that obsession, it's a serious positioning shift. But is Sandokan actually like Bridgerton? Let's keep it honest. No, not in the exact tone. Bridgerton is polished romance fantasy. It's flirtation, scandal, witty pressure, and sensual suspense in a controlled social arena. Sandokan can be rougher. The stakes can feel more external. Danger, conflict, survival, power struggles beyond ballroom politics. But the overlap isn't in the surface details. The overlap is in the addiction mechanics. The triangle dynamic. The choose-your-team energy. The feeling that romance is not safe. The pressure of reputation and power. And the binge pacing where every episode ends with a pull. So you don't need Sandokan to be Bridgerton. You just need it to scratch the same itch in a new way. And Netflix knows that. The real reason Netflix might be doing this now. When Netflix sees a show start to move, it has a choice. Keep it inside the current audience. Or try to expand it fast. Expansion is how a show becomes a phenomenon. And Bridgerton fans are a perfect expansion target because they binge hard. They create social proof. They are global and multilingual. And they are already trained by Netflix to watch period romance obsession content. So Netflix can run a very simple experiment. If we show Sandokan to Bridgerton viewers, do they click and binge? If yes, Netflix doubles down. If no, Netflix moves on. That's why the next phase is so important. What you can do if you want this push to become real. If you want to help Sandokan cross into mainstream Netflix behavior. Here's the clean playbook. 1. Watch episode 1 fully. Completion matters more than clicks. A click without retention tells Netflix people weren't satisfied. 2. Watch at least 2 episodes. Netflix loves episode 2 starts. That's a major signal of binge potential. 3. Search it and click it from search. Yes, even if it's on your homepage. Searching and selecting can reinforce relevance. 4. Add it to my list. It's a weak signal compared to completion, but it helps. 5. Don't skip around. Skipping can hurt retention modeling. Netflix reads that as uncertain engagement. And here's the wild part. If enough Bridgerton-style viewers watch Sandokan the right way, Netflix may start recommending it even more aggressively to that audience. That's when you'll see the real shift. More romance-first thumbnails. More period drama shelf placement. More if you like this, try that connections. And more casual viewers discovering it without even searching for John Yaman. The biggest myth to avoid. A lot of people assume, if a show is on Netflix, it will automatically explode. Well, Netflix is a giant store. Most titles sit quietly on the shelves. A show becomes big only when Netflix decides it's worth pushing, or when viewer behavior forces Netflix to push. And that's why this Bridgerton connection is such a big deal. It's a bridge to a massive binge audience. So here's what I want you to do. Check your Netflix today. Do you see Sandokan near Bridgerton-style rows? Do you see it recommended after romance/period content? Comment your country and say one of these. I see it recommended. Or, I only find it by search. Because that tells us whether Netflix is actually testing a push in your region. And if you want the next clean update, no drama, no fake rumors, just platform signals and real strategy, subscribe now. I'll keep tracking how Netflix positions Sandokan, what changes in recommendations, and what it means for John Yaman's global momentum.